Hello Twitter, hello Periscope, and hello At Home Yalk. Welcome to the At Home Yalk virtual book fair on Twitter Live. I'm Rachel Churcher, author of the Battleground series and organiser for today's event. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've had an amazing day at Home Yalk. I've been watching all the authors in the virtual book fair and it has been absolutely fantastic. So massive thank you to all of the authors who followed me on this journey, and it's been amazing. Head over to yalk.tallybooks.com to click on the links if you've missed any of the broadcasts today. You'll be able to find those videos on each individual author's Twitter feed. You'll also find all of them on my Twitter feed. I've retweeted them, so anything you missed you can catch up on. I've been sitting here now since 1 o'clock. My blood sugar is all over the place, so if I start babbling, just bear with me. I have another reading to do. I'm going to recap my giveaway, and I'm going to do a massive amount of thank yous. And I need to say another quick thank you to Yalk for setting up the At Home Yalk hashtag and supporting all the amazing author events that have happened today. Not just ours, there have been things from other authors, other publishers. You can find them all on the At Home Yalk hashtag. Yalk in person is a very special gathering, and it's such a shame that we can't be in London and be in person, meeting each other, meeting readers. But it is absolutely wonderful to be able to connect readers and authors online like this. And the technology has been amazing all day, at risk of screwing everything up now. Everything has worked. It's been absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to do another reading from my book. Earlier on, I gave a reading from Battleground. This is the first book in the Battleground series, and I've got a different reading for you now. Don't forget, love my bookshelf. Thank you very much, Ray. This is a small section of my home library, and this is, where I feel at home. You can play spot the authors and spot the books. I don't know how big your feed is, but yeah, there's some good stuff up there. Yes, the Kindle edition of Battleground is totally free to download today because it's Battleground's book birthday. We launched Battleground a year ago at Yalk. Cannot believe it's been a year. It's been a total adventure. We've issued all the other books in the series. There are now 5 books out there, and it's today. Happy birthday, Battleground! I'm very excited about it. So free to download. If you like what you hear in my reading, thank you for the happy book birthday. If you like what you hear in my reading, there are many Amazon links up and down my Twitter feed. Follow them through. There's stuff in my bio. Go through and grab yourself a copy. It's free until midnight tonight, I think Seattle time, whenever it is Amazon flips over. So grab it as soon as you can. It's also available on Kindle Unlimited, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon and all good bookshops. After the reading, I'd love to take some questions. I don't know how much time we'll have, but if there are questions, I can answer them. About the books, about writing, about the virtual book fair. Add your questions to the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you. So, a quick introduction to the Battleground series. And apologies if you heard this all earlier, but anyone who didn't will do another introduction. It's an award-winning 5-book series. I describe it as friendship-based YA. It's almost entirely romance-free because it's a dystopia, and I think my main characters have plenty to worry about without adding in romance and love triangles. They're trying to save themselves and their country from a corrupt government, and what they need is good friends who will look out for each other and keep each other safe. The question that I'm posing to my readers with all 5 books in the series is scarily relevant for 2020. What would you do if your government turned against you? And what if you had the chance to fight back? The series is set in the UK, after Brexit and Scottish independence. In the section I'm going to read now, my protagonist, 16-year-old Bex Elman, has been taken from her school by army recruiters and conscripted into the recruit training service. She's in an army training camp, being trained to represent the government on the streets and to deter terrorists from attacking civilians. The point of the training is to produce soldiers who will look out for civilians and not get caught on TV cameras helping each other instead. But Bex refuses to do this, and she insists on looking out for her friends. And she's about to find out that this won't win her any favours at camp. Morning run. We're back on the long route again, now that we're getting used to wearing our armour. Across the bypass and the railway, and along the main road, where the people driving past can see us, through the industrial estate and back through the woods. I'm running with Dan, talking when we get the chance. We're following a narrow path between the trees, dodging roots and muddy puddles. Ketty pushes past. Up for a sprint, Dan? Dan glances at me and I shrug. Sure, he says, and grimaces at me over his shoulder. Dan and Ketty run ahead, and I take the opportunity to slow my pace and enjoy being outside in the woods. It's a bright morning and I'm making good time. I take the chance to look around and notice the trees, the deep green of the undergrowth, the birdsong. For the first time, I find myself thinking about how beautiful it is out here. There's a shout from behind me and I turn back to see what's wrong. I jog back along the path towards a group of recruits gathered round someone on the ground. My happy mood dissolves. It's Saunders. He's caught his foot in a root and tripped. I reach the group and I see that his foot is twisted behind him at an awkward angle. I'm pretty sure it's broken. Amy and Jake are standing over him. Amy is holding his hand, trying to help him stand. I grab his arm and haul him up, supporting his injured side. I look around for a senior recruit, but they're all ahead of us. We're the last runners at the back of the group. I've got you, Saunders, you okay? He grunts and grips my elbow. I put his arm round my shoulders and wrap my arm across his back to support his weight. He holds the injured foot off the ground and hops alongside me as I start to walk. You guys should keep going. Run ahead and let someone know Excuse me. You guys should keep going. Run ahead and let someone know that Saunders is injured. Tell them we're coming. Amy protests, but Jake takes her arm and gently pulls her away. They run on together, glancing back at us until they're out of sight, between the trees. It's just the two of us. I'm not sure we can make it to the gate, but I can't tell Saunders that. It's not far now, I say, wrapping my arm more tightly round him. I've got you, just keep moving. His breathing is laboured. He's obviously in pain, but we keep going. It takes 20 minutes to get through the woods, but I can see the fence and the route back to the gate. The bright sky has clouded over and the day is looking grey and gloomy. We reach the fence and turn along the short path past the camp. I can see everyone else lining up for weapons training and I know we're going to be late, but we push on. Past the dorm buildings, past the row of army vehicles, and up to the guard post at the gate. We're going to make it. The gate is shut when we reach it. Two guards stand behind the wire mesh staring out at the road behind us. We walk up to the gate. The guards keep their eyes on the road, ignoring us. Let us in, will you? I call out. One of the guards looks at me and shifts his gun to a combat pose. Seriously? I shout. We need to get to a dock to open the gate. I don't know who you are. Orders are not to let anyone else in. And he looks away again, back at the road behind me. This must be a misunderstanding. I help Saunders to sit down on the grass near the gate, then walk over and grab the metal mesh with both hands. I'm angry now and I'm shouting. Hey, open up! Both guards lift their guns and point them at me. I freeze, my hands gripping the gate. Back off! Hands in the air! They both take a step towards me, keeping me in their sights. I obey, lift my hands and take a step back. I can't believe they're doing this. We're late back from the run. You know who we are. Saunders needs a doctor. I think he's broken his ankle. Let us in. We'll go straight to medical. Can't do that. They're still pointing their guns at me. They're serious. They're not going to open the gates. My hands are shaking, but I can't let them leave us out here. I can't let them leave Saunders here in pain. Fetch someone to verify who we are. Just get us back inside. The guards exchange a look. Then one of them returns his gun to a patrol hold and walks to the gatehouse. He speaks to someone on a radio and returns to the gate. The other guard keeps his gun aimed at me. I'm looking down the barrel of a gun. I should be afraid, but my anger is stronger than my fear. I can't stop myself from fighting back. So, I ask, is someone coming? The guard shrugs and starts watching the road again, as if I'm not here. I turn back to Saunders. He's sitting with his legs out in front of him, slumped over, head bowed. He needs a doctor, but there's nothing more I can do. There are footsteps on the path. I turn back in time to see Ketty walking briskly towards the gate. Please, I begin, but Ketty's already talking to the guards. They're late. Leave them out there. How long? Asks one of the guards. Ketty starts to walk away. I'll let you know, she calls over her shoulder. Both guards resume their patrol positions and focus their attention on the road. I sit down next to Saunders and put my hand on his arm. I'm sorry, I whisper. I can't think of anything else to say. I'm sorry, he says, through clenched teeth. He's fighting back tears and I know he's in pain. I've got nothing to give him. I can't help. My anger and my bravery melt away as I watch the guards staring past us, guns ready. I put my arm around his shoulders and wait. Of course, this incident doesn't end well for Bex and Saunders, and there are unpleasant consequences for both of them. And you'll have to read the book to find out what those are. If you did listen in earlier, that section comes from earlier in the book. The section I read earlier comes from later in the book. I feel like I'm babbling. That's an earlier part of the story. Don't forget, Battleground is free to download today. Once again, follow all the links up and down on my Twitter feed or in my profile to grab your copy. You've got until midnight Seattle time. I'd love to take your questions. So add yours to the video feed. I'll try and keep track of them. While you're typing, let me tell you about my giveaway. I'm offering a signed paperback copy of Battleground, along with an awesome Battleground series tote bag with all of the book covers on it. Worldwide postage is included. Giveaway ends tomorrow at 11 PM London time, and I'll draw a winner at random on Monday. To enter, simply sign up to my mailing list. Head to freebook.taulerbooks.com. Here's the sign I made earlier. freebook.taulerbooks.com. There's a link in my Twitter bio. And when you sign up, I'll also send you a free novella. Making Trouble is a spoiler-free prequel to the Battleground series, and it's an introduction to an important character in the story. Head up to my Twitter bio, click on the link. I legally need to state that this giveaway is run by me and by Taller Books and is not affiliated with Twitter, Periscope or Yalk in any way. So I've got some questions. Let me scroll up and see what they were. Oh goodness, the scariest part of my dystopia. I started writing Battleground in 2016 after the Brexit vote and the Brexit debate. And I deliberately went out of my way to create a worst case scenario for post-Brexit UK. And of course that involves Scottish independence because Scotland voted to remain. But once you start breaking up the union like that, you end up with all kinds of unintended consequences. So we have terrorist acts protesting, it's not actually explained, but protesting various political issues in the book. And the way this is resolved is for the government to conscript teenagers into this sort of pseudo army, so that they are the ones who patrol the streets and give a sense of security while the army is busy elsewhere and gets called into major incidents. I had the government cut off the internet and mobile phones for civilians in order to stop terrorists and terrorism cells plotting together. And all the landlines are monitored. So it's incredibly difficult to have a private conversation in my dystopia. What's absolutely horrifying is that since I wrote it, France has talked about bringing back national service for teenagers. And South Sudan and a couple of other places cut off internet connection for exactly this reason, to stop protests and to stop gatherings of people. And obviously the protests that are happening now, particularly in the US, this idea of martial law, this idea of a crackdown on protesters, so that the political views are squashed, is incredibly relevant. So actually the most scary parts of my dystopia are the bits that are coming true, which makes it an incredibly relevant but also scary read. Let me see, there were other... who do I trust to read my draft? My husband is my first beta reader. He actually reads things as I'm writing, and he's getting good at spotting problems earlier on rather than telling me at the end that there was something he spotted halfway through, which is fantastic. It's brilliant. So he gets to read it first, and then I have a team of beta readers who then get to see what I think is definitely not a finished manuscript, but the structure is there. It says what I want it to say. And they're absolutely fantastic. They're friends, and I deliberately asked people who either read a lot or write, or both. So they all have a slightly different take on what they're reading. And I have my amazing typo ninja who can spot things in stuff I've read 1,000 times and that everyone else reads and doesn't spot, and she comes back with a list of typos every time. It's astounding. So superpower, typo ninja. And then I have a slightly wider circle of beta readers who, when I think it's a finished product, they get sent the book to read, and that includes my mother. So she gets to look at the book before it gets actually published. And she was an English teacher, so I get more a different view again on my books. So yeah, that's the process that I go through, and it's fantastic that I've got people who are willing to do this and put the time in and fall in love with my characters with me, and it's absolutely fantastic. Advice to a new author. The best writing advice that I ever had was from NaNoWriMo. So Battleground actually started as a NaNoWriMo project. I crashed and burned and I totally didn't finish it within the 30 days, but I did. I think it took me 6 weeks to get a first draft down, and I've never been able to do that before. And the reason that I managed it was that NaNoWriMo officially makes this a part of the rules. If you're going to write a novel in 30 days, you have to give yourself permission to write badly. So you have to give yourself permission to create a bad first draft, and that's your NaNoWriMo. That's your first draft of a novel in 30 days. If you give yourself permission to write a bad first draft, it doesn't matter whether it takes you 30 days or a year, give yourself permission to write badly, and then you can just write. You don't have to worry about punctuation. You don't have to worry about grammar. You don't have to worry anything. Get the story down. I can't remember whose quote it is that the first draft is you telling yourself the story. If you can do that, and then my process is to then lock the novel in a drawer for a month, thereabouts, and then come back to it, read it fresh, and start the editing process. So yeah, that would be my top piece of advice. The other piece of advice is, as everyone says, don't compare yourself to anyone else. Everybody started somewhere. If you're writing your book and you love Lord of the Rings and you want to write high fantasy, and every time you write something you're comparing yourself to Tolkien, you're going to paralyze yourself. You're not Tolkien. You're telling your own story. He didn't tell your story. You tell your own story, and take joy in telling your story. And again, write badly, edit well. But absolutely, everybody has a totally different journey when they're writing, when they're publishing. So yes, don't look at other people. Look at other people for advice. Look at other people for encouragement. But don't compare yourself, and don't shoot yourself down if you think you're doing less well than somebody else. That's not how it works. You're doing you, and only you know how you can work. Are there any more questions? I'm just scrolling through to find out. I know there's a bit of a lag between the questions being typed and appearing on screen, so just gonna give you guys a moment to hit return and for it to all come through the ether. That's fine. We're definitely getting towards the end of today's event. So thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. And I do need to take a few minutes to just say a massive thank you to everybody who has made this possible. Huge thank you to all the authors who took part in today's book fair. Thank you to Abigail Tyrrell, Avi Silva, Liz Anna Langston, Joshua Winning, Josie Jaffrey, Judith Crow, Amy Bichel, Lisa Braver Moss, Ray Knightley, Robin Prokop, Tanya Lee, and Michael J. Bowler. If you missed any of their broadcasts, head to the schedule at yalk.taulerbooks.com. There are links to that up and down my feed. You'll be able to find it. And you can click on the link. So if you go to the schedule page, all of us are listed with our time zone, with our time slots. If you click on those, it'll take you to our feeds. All of these videos will be up on our individual feeds. They're actually all up on my feed as well. I've retweeted them. So if you've missed anything that you wanted to listen to, you can go back and revisit. Also need to thank our absolute army of supporters who've tweeted, retweeted, promoted us across social media. And there is a few people that I want to mention, particularly special thanks to all of my fantastic book bloggers who answered my call for help. You've been amazing. To Edward at the Wishing Shelf Book Awards, thank you so much. You've done loads of promotion for us. Also, and I'm just going to list names, and I apologise if I've forgotten anyone. Thank you to you too. But in particular, Bex Hogan, Julia Blake, Amy Warren, Pauline Manders, and Joe Silber, and all my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook friends. Special mention to my husband for making sure I've remembered to eat and sleep over the past week. Obviously, haven't actually managed to eat today. Going to get onto that in a minute, but he's been amazing. And a huge thank you to Mary Frediani at Our Own Right for lending us the format for today. This is actually Mary's idea. She ran her first lockdown virtual book fair in April, and the Our Own Right book fairs are now happening every month. Using this same idea, everybody's broadcasting via Twitter Live at a time slot, and there's a central schedule for everyone to find them. So you'll find details of the next event at ourownright.squarespace.com. There will be a tweet appearing at some point on my feed that will take you straight through with all that information. She's taking sign-ups for the next book fair now, but keep an eye on the site and either sign up or head over and watch the event. It will work just like this one. And thank you for being here, for coming to our readings. It's been an absolutely amazing day, and the readers, make it all possible, make it all worthwhile. My stand is already booked for YALC next year. I hope we can all meet up in London in 2021 and spend the weekend talking about books rather than viruses. That would be great. So if you do come, please come over and say hi. I'll be on the Taller Books stand. Don't forget to enter my giveaway. Download your free copy of Making Trouble from freebook.taulerbooks.com. Go to my Twitter bio and follow the link. And you can find more information on all the books in the Battleground series at taulerbooks.com. The link again is in my Twitter bio, along with a link to the series on Amazon. And don't forget to download your free copy of Battleground today. It's been a while since I checked the number of downloads, but we made it to number 3 in young adult action and adventure, I think. So, and number 4 in young adult dystopia. So thank you so much to everyone who has downloaded it already. If we can shunt that higher, that would be fantastic. Go and download your copy now. I'm all thanked out. Thank you, and thank you for all your messages. I'm gonna say goodnight, and I'm gonna go and have some food and probably a glass of wine. And when I wake up tomorrow, I will send out some emails and get this event wrapped up. But yeah, thank you to everyone. Good night and happy reading.